Good evening, welcome back to another video on the channel. So the 2024 US Open Women's Final is set. Aryna Sabalenka will look to avenge her final defeat last year to Coco Gauff up against another American, Jessica Pegula, who will look to win her first ever major title on Saturday night. So Sabalenka, first off, looking at this preview in the final, has pretty much cruised through to this stage, losing just the one set against Alexandrova in round 3, but from then onwards has looked very imperious, dominated pretty much every matchup, and has cruised to the final. Since the start of Cincinnati, Sabalenka has been absolutely excellent. There she beats Svitolina, Swiatek and Pegula all in straight sets, which give her a world of confidence going into this US Open, and she has carried that form into New York and played fantastically well in pretty much every match up until last night, which I'll get into in a moment. She now has 11 consecutive wins on the hard court. She's lost just the one set so far this tournament. And last night, I didn't think she was at her absolute best, which I think is to be understood. Even the top players still get very nervous. And I think the fact that Sabalenka threw away what was a fantastic opportunity last year is set up in the final against Coco Gauff. It'll mean so much to her to reach into the final and get an opportunity to win her first ever US Open title. So last night didn't play her best, but won the big moments and still got through in straight sets to give herself an opportunity to avenge the defeat last year. I did pick up on two things that I really liked from Sabalenka last night. As I mentioned, I don't think she played her best match of the tournament, but something that I predicted in my preview video and something that I think Sabalenka recognised early in that match, that Navarro would offer real good variety, quality from the baseline, great defence, counter-punching, consistency. She would force Sabalenka to play extra balls and really hit through the ball and hit lots of winners. And I felt like that Sabalenka's never at her absolute best around the net. I think when she's from the baseline, hitting the ball from shoulder height, hitting the ball from a comfortable height at a comfortable pace, then Sabalenka's devastating. But around the net, I still think her hands are a little bit too heavy at times, and she's not the best volleyer in the world. But last night, she recognised that she wanted to win the points early. She didn't want to allow Navarro to counter-punch and defend and force her to play extra balls and force Sabalenka to hit unforced errors as she did last year in the final against Gauff. She won 14 out of 17 net play points, and as I mentioned, I don't think Sabalenka's at her best around the net, but last night she proved her quality, and last night she really turned up around the net. She was very confident, clear-minded, had conviction, ended the points early, and I was just thoroughly impressed in the way that she recognised the importance of attacking the net and keeping the points as short as possible against Navarro, who moves fantastically well and defends so well at both corners. I also feel like in the final against Gauff, Sabalenka didn't have the patience required. She didn't really react well to adversity. She started really overhitting the ball. She made lots of erratic, unforced errors. But last night she learned to change it up, and I think she's a player that's really experienced now. She's matured. She's mentally stronger than what she was a few years ago. And also in the tie-break is something that I really like from Sabalenka. You know, she lost the opening couple of points in the tie-break, having not played a particularly fantastic set, and then just responded and found her God mode, if you like, and won the next 7 points to win it 7-2 and close the match out. And I feel like a few years ago, Sabalenka might have unravelled with the way she was playing that second set. She might have conceded it, and then in the third set decider, who knows what can happen. So I was just really impressed, particularly with her mindset, the way she turned that set around, the way she battled to stay in it, and then produced the quality in the big moments in the tie breaks to close it out. As for Jessica Pegula, she's really turned her year around in the second half. You know, she'd had a poor year by her standards up until Toronto. She went there and won the title playing very well, made the final at Cincinnati, but unfortunately bumped into Sabalenka and lost in straight sets. And she's now came through a very tough draw, you know, beating Sofia Kenin, Iga Swiatek, Karolina Muchova. 3 fantastic wins there just in themselves. And unfortunately for her, comes up against Sabalenka again, who is by far and away, in my opinion, the best hardcore player in the world. Just touching on her semi-final, I thought Muchova, I predicted her to win. And I think Muchova is technically one of the best women's players in the world. I think the variety that she offers, her all-round game is so solid, so great to watch, technically sound in every shot, always plays the right shot, and for Pegula to turn that match around with the way she was playing is a testament to her mental strength, and I think that'll give her a huge amount of confidence going into tomorrow's final. In the first set, Mukova played lights out tennis as she has for the majority of this tournament, and I feel like from second set onwards, Pegula felt like she needed to be more aggressive. She needed to take the match to Mukova, not allow Mukova time to dictate and play the rally on her terms. And even when Pegula tried to be more aggressive in the second set, I still didn't feel like she executed as she could. And as we expect to see Pegula, we know she's a fantastic player on fast hard courts. Last night we didn't really see that, but we saw a different side of Pegula in terms of battling qualities, the consistency from the baseline. And I feel like it was a huge monumental effort for Pegula to turn that match around when she was 6-1, love 2 down, against a player that is such a rhythm player in Mukova. To upset that rhythm and start forcing errors, I thought was a fantastic effort in terms of fight and spirit from Pegula. I was disappointed with Pegula's quality around the net, to be honest. I think she was right to make a switch up from the second set onwards and try and attack the net and shorten the points, but her quality was poor, whereas Sabalenka's was fantastic, and I feel like that's where the match perhaps could be won and lost tomorrow as well. And in the third set, Pegula went into lockdown mode. I felt like she knew she was having an off night. It was too risky to go on the front foot when she hadn't played her best tennis. And Mukova was the player that really went for it in the third set and tried to make it happen, but made lots of unforced errors. Pegula stayed solid, consistent, held it together. And as I mentioned there, I think to go through a really tough physical, mental match and come through it is, I think, fantastic preparation going into a final. I always think you need a sort of acid test and to have come back from behind and really have that mental ability that you can win from any position is huge going into a final. So coming back from 1-6, love 2, it doesn't really get much tougher than that. And that could be perhaps the difference tomorrow for Pegula mentally as well. In terms of a final prediction, I feel like Sabalenka deals with pressure now and produces her best in the biggest moments, which is not something that we used to say about Sabalenka 3 or 4 years ago. I feel like she learnt a lot from the 2023 defeat at Coco Gauff last night, up against a real good defender and counter-puncher. She was a lot more patient, chose the moments to attacked the net very well, and she has more variety in the game than she used to and has got the ability to adapt now. This matchup, I feel like, suits her better than the final against Gauff or the semi-final against Navarro. Pegula, in my opinion, isn't really a defender or counter-puncher by nature. She's more of a front foot player. But I feel like if you play fire with fire against Sabalenka, if you like, then Sabalenka is going to come out on top against any player in the world on a fast hard court. And I just feel like when Sabalenka's at near her best, when serving, returning, forehand, backhand, she's too good when she's on song, and she has been in these last 2 weeks, which is why she's pretty much cruised through every match since the start of Cincinnati. She was my pre-tournament pick, and I'm certainly not going to go against Aryna Sabalenka now. Pegula, she's had an excellent tournament, an excellent few weeks after a very tough start of 2024. But last night, I wasn't particularly impressed with her overall performance. I mean, when she came to the net and when she looked to be aggressive, she made lots of unforced errors. I'm not sure whether she was struggling with nerves or fatigue or just having an off day, but you do have to credit her immense battling qualities to turn that match around. But it didn't strike me as a performance that could take down a player of Sabalenka's quality and caliber. I think if Pegula is going to win tomorrow, she's going to have to serve very well, return brilliantly, and just have one of them nights where everything you hit goes in. And she's going to have to look to hit plenty of winners, keep Sabalenka wide and deep and on the move. But if she gets into a firefight with Sabalenka, then I only expect one outcome, and that's Sabalenka to win in straight sets. So I'm going to go Aryna Sabalenka to lift her first ever US Open title. So thank you for watching the video. If you would like and leave a comment on who you think will win the final, I'd always enjoy reading those. If you would subscribe to my channel, that would be greatly appreciated. I am on a journey into working in tennis media, hopefully one day. So every subscription just has that little bit of help in towards reaching that dream of mine. And I will also be covering lots of tournaments later on in 2024. So thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.